With the NBA trade deadline coming up, the Los Angeles Lakers are gonna make a big time splash, and for this video, we're gonna be focusing on that. The question now is, what is the perfect blueprint the Lakers must do to complete their championship run? This year, they're going full throttle for the chip and want to win it all. And so far this season, they've been struggling and not living up to expectation. After making a big-time trade for Russell Westbrook in this past offseason, trading away Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Montrezl Harrell, the trade now seems to be like it wasn't a good move. And with Rob Pelinka and the Lakers not wanting to waste a prime year for a championship run while LeBron James is still available and still playing the best basketball of his career, despite the many rumors of do's and don'ts, one do for sure is making a trade. And we just got a big report that the Lakers are targeting these players via the NBA trade deadline. They're targeting Ben Simmons, Jerami Grant, Miles Turner, and Harrison Barnes. I believe if the Lakers get any one of these four players, it'll elevate their roster to a whole nother level. But let's be real, which one of these players is the most realistic and the most likely? So for this video, we're going to be answering that question, talking about the Lakers 2022 NBA trade deadline blueprint, and of course, me outlining the perfect scenario that could move them forward this season. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a very special episode of Easy Buckets. My name is Soom, and I make basketball videos every single day. So if you love basketball, be sure to hit the subscribe button to not post notifications to not miss any of my upcoming videos. If you watched this video and you loved it, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it. It would help with the channel a lot. But without wasting any more time, let's talk about the Lakers' perfect blueprint. The first thing that I want to talk about is Russell Westbrook, and I believe 100% the Lakers are going to try to sell him and trade him this season. The NBA trade deadline is now less than 20 days away, and I believe from right now until then, Rob Pelinka is going to make consistent calls every single day to, of course, try to persuade and get a buyer for Russell Westbrook. With Russell Westbrook having a very expensive $44 million contract and an expensive $46 million contract in this upcoming offseason, I'm gonna keep it real. It's gonna be very, very difficult to trade him, and ultimately, I don't believe a trade will happen, which means Russell Westbrook will remain a Laker. So if the Lakers can't trade Russell Westbrook, what can they do? This is where Talen Horton-Tucker comes in. THT is gonna be the player the Lakers are gonna try to heavily sell, because right now, he's young, he has a pretty good contract the teams can afford, and number 3, he has a lot of potential and a lot of value in the NBA. I know 100% the Lakers value THT a lot, so does LeBron, but I do believe they value winning a championship more, and that's why I do believe THT is their prime trading piece in this upcoming NBA trade deadline. The Lakers have a full roster right now, so this is the first step they have to do to improve their roster, and that's making a trade with the Detroit Pistons for Jerami Grant. I believe Jerami Grant is the best target amongst the players listed before of Ben Simmons, Miles Turner, and Harrison Barnes. I'm not saying he's the best player when it comes to skill-wise, I'm saying he's the most affordable and most likely. According to Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report, he says this about Jerami Grant: the Lakers, the Trailblazers, the Knicks, the Jazz, the Wizards, the Celtics, the Pacers, the Timberwolves, and the Kings have all signaled interest in the 27-year-old, which is Jerami Grant. Right now, it is super duper competitive for Jerami Grant, but I do believe the Lakers have a chance here. The report continues and says, the frenzy comes 1 year after Pistons GM Troy Weaver swiftly declined an inquiry about Grant's availability after the forward surprisingly chose Detroit in free agency. Sources say Detroit is now asking for 2 first-round picks or 1 first-round pick plus a high upside young player in exchange for Jerami Grant. And oh boy, I believe the Lakers can do their best to accommodate what the Pistons want. If the Lakers can offer up Talen Horton-Tucker, which is that high upside young player, Kendrick Nunn, a bonus high upside young player, DeAndre Jordan, and a 2027 first round pick in exchange for Jerami Grant, I believe this would be an ideal deal that will get the Lakers and the Pistons a trade that simply makes sense and can go through perfectly. The Pistons just said it. They want 2 first-round draft picks or 1 first-round draft pick and a high-promising player. But this trade scenario gives them 3 assets to, of course, accommodate what they want. They're getting 2 young players and a first-round draft pick. And with the Lakers super desperate, I wouldn't be surprised if they might even offer up a second-round draft pick or even 1 more first-round. Jerami Grant has been linked to the Lakers over the past 2 years now, ever since Jerami Grant was on the Denver Nuggets. And with the Pistons going nowhere for a playoff push, I believe this year is the best year for the Pistons to trade him, and this trade scenario gives them the futuristic assets that they're looking for. On the Lakers' perspective, they've been looking for a defensive stopper of Jerami Grant. I don't have to hide the fact that they're super interested in Jerami Grant, and of course I believe this is the deal that could get it done. So now the Lakers get Jerami Grant. The question now is, what's next? What is their next move? After losing 3 players in that deal and getting 1 in return, they have 2 more available roster spots. And I believe the best thing they should do here is target the buyout market. And they got 2 players that I believe they must target. The first player is Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kevin Love over the past few seasons have been playing for the Cavaliers, a team that isn't that competitive and isn't that good. And of course, the rumors of him getting bought out is always around season after season. I believe he would be interested in joining LeBron James, his former 2016 NBA championship partner. Of course, I do want to say this right now that the Cavaliers this year seem to be a competitive team and a playoff-bound team, which means I don't believe Kevin Love is going to get bought out, or if anything, the chances of him getting bought out just decreased. But with the Lakers looking for a front-court player that can space the floor and of course be a factor on the shooting column, Kevin Love is the best case scenario, because if he were to get bought out, I do believe he'll easily sign the veterans minimum, as he's coming off a pretty big contract that of course kept him around in Cleveland. If the Lakers lose DeAndre Jordan in the deal for Jerami Grant, getting Kevin Love to the veterans minimum via the buyout market would be an all-time upgrade. I would love to see that happen. So let's say the Lakers sign Kevin Love. What's next? I want them to target John Wall of the Houston Rockets. He's one of the more popular buyout candidates right now, and I do believe getting Kevin Love and John Wall would simply boost their roster to a whole nother level. When talking about John Wall this season, he has yet to play a single game for the Houston Rockets. But I'm gonna say this, John Wall has been very vocal on saying he's healthy, he's ready to go, and wants to start playing. And that's why I do believe in these upcoming 20 days, we're gonna see John Wall wear a new jersey, whether it's a trade or him ultimately getting bought out, as the Houston Rockets are focusing their future on Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. I believe if the Lakers get John Wall but still keep Russell Westbrook, they'll have 2 elite point guards at the point guard position, 1 to start, 1 to come off the bench, to give the Lakers a whole round roster, because right now I do believe that's important to them, having the depth to of course step up, and with John Wall right now having the chip on his shoulder, kind of having a chance to come back to the NBA and show his worth, he will be a big time addition to the Lakers, as he wants to prove himself once again. The Lakers should sign John Wall and Kevin Love via the buyout market. This is my perfect blueprint. So yes guys, this wraps up my video for today, talking about the Lakers and a complete roster blueprint in this upcoming NBA trade deadline. This would be the ultimate roster if this gets done. They'll have LeBron James still, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, and then getting Jerami Grant, Kevin Love, John Wall, still having Carmelo Anthony, Malik Monk, Austin Reeves, Dwight Howard, and the rest of their roster like Stanley Johnson. The Lakers will be competitive, I believe, if they make the right moves that I just suggested. So Rob Pelinka, if you're watching this video, trust me, I believe this is the best case scenario that you would hope for, and of course, try the checklist in this upcoming NBA trade deadline. So what's most important to me is I want to know your thoughts. Do you believe this is a good blueprint for the Lakers, or do you believe they should do something else? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, but other than that, take it easy, God bless, and I'll see you all next time on Easy Buckets. Woo!